Hello everyone and welcome to another month on the Hungarian wine journey, also called Den Ungarske Vinreise in Denmark. On the Hungarian wine journey, I usually pick 3 wines from one producer each month, but as you can probably see, I'm joined by one of my bestest friends, Sue's colleagues from Bortodoor, who has been given the permission and honor to choose the 3 wines we have sent out to our subscribers this month. And it's not from one producer, it's based on a specific theme. Could you tell us a little bit about the theme you've chosen for July month?
Maybe we should be cryptic and say, suggest the theme yourself in the comments.
Suggest the theme in the comments.
For next time. No, okay. So these are all chosen from specific wine trips that Casper and I have done with Bortodoor and Viden.dk. So we wanted to take you through a journey of what we have drunk, with a few of the stories behind them as well.
And it's going to be a great time. And what do we usually do in July? Don't we do wine trips in July ourselves?
We normally do, yeah.
We normally do. So I think it's a perfect time to release this package of wine for our subscribers in Denmark. And I'm thinking, shouldn't we just jump straight into the Balaton River?
Let's go.
All right. So we are at Balaton now, and we're going to drink a bottle of bubbles. Maybe I can talk a little bit about it while you open it up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So this wine is from Garamvari, which was one of the producers we visited last summer, when we did a whole week of traveling both across the south and the northern shore of Balaton.
Sometimes a couple of times in one day. Another
Yes.
story.
Oh, a story is incoming. I can already hear it. Oh, you are always professional when it comes to opening.
Well, very prepared.
Yeah. And Garamvari, we had a wonderful time in the afternoon, where Susan and I and one of our friends as well spent an entire afternoon. Pretty much, I'd say we tasted 90% of what they had to offer on the menu, and many of it was bubbles. And that's why I think you chose their classic brew from Garamvari as the first wine we should taste this month. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I think setting. When you're in the Balaton, it's currently 36 plus degrees here, and the Balaton, the Hungarian Sea, is the wonderful place to just relax, get out of the city. I think it's all the water that you need in life. I've swam across it 5.2 kilometers a couple of times, but it's actually 200 kilometers around. And on the south shore of the Balaton, nice sandy, loose soils, so it warms up and can produce some excellent quality sparkling wine. Garamvari are one of the pioneers of Pezsgő in the region, and they make a wonderful selection. The classic route, though, I think is what you want from summer. You want to just kick back. You don't want to think too much about anything. You don't want to be getting into the nuances of the wine. You just want to enjoy nice, crisp, well-rounded bubbles with citrus and apple and a little bit of brioche. It's everything you need.
Cheers for that. So I think it's also on point to share a little bit about our trip in the Balaton, maybe some funny stories we had. So I want to pose to you, on our week trip to Balaton last year, what was the most interesting or funny experience you had?
Okay, I think the most interesting and funny thing is transportation.
Uh-huh.
So with all of these wineries, it's zero tolerance drink driving, which is a great thing, but it's not good if you're trying to get around to different wineries. And the wonderful thing about these beautiful settings, when you look out over the hills, it's all great, but you got to get up the hill and you got to get down the hill. And when you're at the Balaton, there's also a large body of water you maybe have to traverse as well.
Uh-huh.
But my favorite story about Garamvari was we were there, we spent the afternoon. Szilárd looked after us beautifully. He didn't give us the option of a spittoon, which was problematic when we had 19 wines, but we made it work, had a lovely time. After that, we wanted to get up to Konyari, which is up the hill. And we said, okay, anyway, we can get there. There's a little noddy train that will take you up, and that wasn't coming on schedule for us. He said, look, we can't say this, can we? Can we say this?
We can say that a random passerby helped us traverse to the next location.
Perfect, yeah. So they had a van, but it was just a 2-seater van, and in the back was where the cargo goes. So Casper goes in the back, I'm in the front. We go up the hill towards Konyari, and then he stops and lets a bunch of lads in, because they also need to go up the hill. So they just jump in the back of the van with Casper, and then we get to the top, and it was like unloading a bunch of traffickers. But yeah, it was effective. And then how do we get down the hill?
Ooh, that was
Black
an
Gates.
experience. So we you talked about the nutty train, which is, you know, a little, how could you even describe it? Like a little train that, you know, barely fills up half of a, you know, a road. So it's like
Open side. It really doesn't have much of an engine to it. Yeah.
And we soon as you knew that it was going to stop, it's going to drive down a specific. So we talked, okay, where can we go to get picked up? And I was like, nobody's going to pick us up just randomly. And then, you know,
A couple of phone calls.
We heard Blackgate, got to go through this, you know, stand over there. And I was like, I'm going to take some pictures, some good videos of the surroundings. They're never going to come. And suddenly, choo-choo, turned up.
At the Black Gate, across the vineyard, picked us up, took us down the hill.
Perfect. And then we enjoyed a good time in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we cross the Balaton Lake, go to the North Shore, visit Villa Sandal. Villa Sandal is actually a wine producer we exported from before, imported if you're sitting in Denmark. They're one of a very many good producers from the Bortodoor region. And even though it is owned by two Swedes, you know, we can't fault the Swedes for everything, they produce some amazingly good wine. And while you're pouring it up, maybe I can share a little bit of a funny story from our Bortodoor visit. Because we decided at one point to rent two e-bikes. So people who don't know e-bikes, electronic bikes to ride around. And little Miss Sunshine over here is a little bit scaredy cat when it comes to riding a bike with good cause. Maybe you can share a little bit about that. But we're doing perfectly well in Bortodoor. I think we had the e-bike for 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. But on the very last day, before we're supposed to go home, we ride up to a very good restaurant to have a last meal. You haven't fallen at all. You have done nothing wrong. You've been like in my headwind all the time. Then we do the very last turn before we turn into this gravel road to the restaurant. I'm like 100 meters ahead. I'm looking back, where is she at? And all I hear is like, whoa! And I just see that she almost fell into the hedge while she was trying to do a 90-degree turn into that restaurant. So.
Falling. Everything's fine.
Yeah, you didn't break anything, did you?
Didn't break anything,
Nope.
didn't break the bike, didn't break any bones.
Nope.
Not like 2020, which is the vintage of this wine.
Wow.
Oh, nice segue.
See the segue over here, huh?
We're talking about bikes.
Get a load of this girl.
So it's an incredible experience to go to Villa Sandal, not just because of the beautiful place that it is. They just produce Rieslings. Every single year, they have a different artist to do a theme for the vintage. This has always been my favourite artistic theme for this one. So 2020 until it runs out, get it down you. And there's two styles of Riesling drinkers. There's the fresh Riesling. You're always going to have that high acidity. You're always going to have that slightly saline quality. You're going to start with some white flowers, maybe some peach, some nectarine. But over time, in the bottle aging, you get this wonderful TDN, which is the petrol notes. And that's when I become the Riesling fan to its truest. So 2020, 6 years old, this has this wonderful, viscous, oily, petrol, honey, toasty. It's beautifully developed. But there you can try, 400, because they've got some from every single vintage. With climate change, a lot of their Rieslings now are on the elevated alcohol side, 14.5, 15, a little bit too hot for a summer's day, but the one that Casper is exporting, the one that we've chosen at Bortodoor, is 13.5, so very moderate, perfect for pairing with so many dishes or just drinking by itself.
It almost feels like tasting a floral meadow covered in honey and beeswax. It's you wouldn't think you can get a Riesling. Well, I feel like every time I have a Riesling from Villa Sandal, I'm like, can Hungary do this? They are the experts when it comes to Rhine Riesling.
And how long did it take you to get into the Hungarian Riesling?
Am I even still in it? I don't know, yeah. Oh well, I think the problem is whenever you have one of your friends who brings a German Riesling on the cheaper side, and that's just amazing. And it takes you a while to find something comparable in Hungary, but I feel like when you do, it just takes 10 leaps forward when it comes to quality in whatever you can have from well, I shouldn't be crass, but whatever you can have from Germany. I really feel like it took me a while, but I'm hooked now after Villa Sandal have booked me over.
But if you look at why Moselle's good, why Germany's good, obviously you've got the sunshine from the river effect. So for the lake, you've got the lake effect. You've got the schist there. You've got volcanic soil here. So it's a really comparison. It's just that we can get far more warmer expressions of the same grape. Can we tell the story about the ferry now?
Suze, could you tell me your funny or interesting story from our north side visit to Balaton?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Balaton, 200 kilometers around, 80 kilometers from side to side, and the smallest part is really quite small. And there are ferries that go all the way across. We were staying on the south shore, as we mentioned, and then I saw this party boat. And I was like, party boat, that sounds hilarious. Let's go. Let's have all of the holiday makers and go on this party boat. So we have an amazing time. We're just going up and down and up and down. And obviously the lights aren't really there. There's not much light pollution on the Balaton Lake. So we go up and down, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is our stop. So we get off the boat quite frantically, and then we go off the boat, and I go to the shore, and I see arcade machines. And I go, oh no, they're not from where we came from. They're from the other side of the lake. So everyone's panicking. I'm just like, oh, it's okay, I got this. Call a few friends who have a hostel, managed to get us into a hostel. Everything was fine, but it wasn't as we planned.
No. It was a hectic night because I said, Suze, I don't mind improvising. You know, you can take me anywhere, we can do anything. I just had one rule. I just needed to know where I'm sleeping tonight. So I was going through hell at that point, but I'm happy it happened because the following morning after we slept on some fairly thin mattresses at this hostel, which was amazing, I had my first of what they call hair of the dog, which pretty much just means you take a drink, a beer in the morning, and you pretty much continue going on. So that was a fun experience. Didn't expect that to happen, but
no one did.
Good choice.
Transportation, you know, and our journey through Hungarian wine.
Ooh, Hungarian journey through wine.
Yes, Hungarian journey through wine.
Cheers. Okay, so let's move on to the third wine of this month, and we're moving away from the Balaton.
But not too far.
Not too far. We're moving to Somlói, which, if you've been on this journey with me for a long time, you know is my favorite region of entire Hungary. You know, don't start with your red wine regions. I know they're good. Somlói is special. Old volcano, minerality, flint, salt, Jufag, which of course is the grape we have in this bottle of wine from Kantara. Smallest region in Hungary, and usually Jufag is also only planted in this smallest region of Hungary, which is Somlói. So we have been to Somlói before.
It's Somló.
Somló.
You say Somlói when it's from Somló. You put the I on the end. So Tokai when it's from Tokai, Somlói when it's a wine from Somló.
Thank you. I can count to 10.
Hungarian lessons of the day. Yes, go on then.
Egy, kettő, három, négy, öt, hat, hét, nyolc, kilenc, 10. Good, Stephen. So yeah, we went to Somló, invited by the local big player called Tornai for their yearly Jufag event. So we went to Tornai to taste Jufag from not all of the producers, but many of the producers from the mountain who came, showed their recent Jufag vintage. But we also had some time in between the events at Tornai to actually walk around the mountain and explore the beautiful wine region of Somlói. And I think that was my favorite moment. You know, maybe you have a story at Tornai, but my favorite moment was when we just, you know, again, we took a nutty train, a small little.
That's what I was going to say. That's my favorite moment.
But too late, I got it. So we took this nutty train, you know, as part of the scheduled plan for our visit, you know, go around, see the site, drink some of the wine while we made a stop, etc. And Suze got the brilliant idea of just, hey, I know some places, you've been there before, of course. Let's ask if we can just jump off and then walk around. And that's what we did. We went to some different wine producers. We went to, it's weird to say, but we went to Spiegelberg to taste some of his wine. We tasted crazy wine, we tasted old wine, and we were just sitting with the best view imaginable, having this experience and knowing when we're done here, we can just walk back to the UFAC event and continue the evening. And it was just like, I don't know if you have a word for that moment where you just feel bliss of this specific minute, specific moment in time where you're sitting there. And that was just my favorite time at
Chomlo. But on the Noddy train, so this international UFARC event, which is kind of like the World Series, it only happens in Hungary and it only happens in Chomlo. But this international UFARC event to raise awareness for the grape, very popular. So they invited a lot of people in the industry and everyone else who loves the grape and loves the region, 100% basalt, it's everything to celebrate. So there's a lot of people on this Noddy train. And Eva from Tournai, she was there, she had boxes of wine that she was just passing back and everyone's just like, this is amazing. Hungarians in their best environment, just really enjoying life. And Chomlo is a hill, it's 100% basalt, old volcanic, mountain, volcano. So as it goes up, we start to smell, feels like burning electrics.
Who's burning tires out here?
Who's burning tires? That's the Noddy train. So the Noddy train has to stop at this kind of incline while we all get out and walk the rest of the way. So transport, again, is our recurring theme.
Maybe we should just like be under constant transport because that's where all the fun thing happens.
That's true. That's where all the stories happen. Yeah, but tell us about the cellar. Tell us about the tasting at the end.
That's also a very good story. That was my second choice.
Oh, there we go.
So we're planning to stay there. We're planning to sleep over. That's another story. But the last event of the evening before people got let loose and the DJ started and people were to party.
DJ was starting from 2 p.m.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. We were invited to a tasting in Tournai's cellar. And
Tournai is the oldest winery in the region.
The big boy in Somlói. And at this event, even though everything was in Hungarian, I understood nothing. They served, what was the oldest, 1974 or 19...
I have like 1989 in my head.
Okay, but in Hungary, if it's not a sweet wine from Tokai, it's out of this world to have anything that is pre, the communist fall in 89, 91, 92. And we were just sitting there, understood nothing. I was leaning back, enjoying the wine, a lot of information was shared. I didn't understand anything. And then suddenly this wine was just put on the table. It was crisp, it was beautiful, it was deep. It was probably the best wine I've tasted from somewhere ever. I was just sitting in that cellar. Oh, I want to get back.
And that's why I want to talk about this wine now, because if you haven't experienced a UFARC before, it's much like the longevity of a Riesling or a Furmint, which obviously Casper's told you about before. It has an incredible age potential. And it's always going to start off this real gorgeous golden color. And the aromas from the UFARC grape and the aromas from the Chomlo region, Chomlo region are this intense earthiness, like almost sulfur, ginger, you get the flowers, you always get the honey, and it's a real mineral bomb. But when it gets over time, it just develops more of those characteristics, really comes into itself, until eventually after about 30, 40 years, you're just gonna smell rocks and salt. But it's still really good for pairing with anything, particularly if you like a duck ramen, like something that's really, the Asian umami flavors. There's nothing that pairs better than a Chomloi UFARC.
And what are we getting in this UFARC you've chosen? Because they have a lot of different UFARCs. Kansala is also one of the big producers from the region. So they make a lot of wine every year. But I think this is one of their recent, very good vintages, the 21, because it's also on your menu at Bortodoor, right?
Yes, it's now on our bestsellers menu, so we've chosen this one to represent all the time. We chose it for this box and we chose it for our bestsellers menu because the UFARC is a really polarizing grape. The entry level to understand it is pretty high. So if you speak to all of the wine nerds around the world, all the top sommeliers, they're like, oh, Chomloi UFARC, oh, that is absolutely it. But it's almost like you need the secret handshake to be able to understand it. So if you're coming in from a more, not to say basic, but a more understandable level, it can be a bit intimidating. The fruits aren't obvious, but in this one, they are. There's almost this tropical fruit coming out of the backside of it on the mid palate and back palate, and a real lovely oily creaminess as well. So I think that we chose this one to say, you might like this one actually. You still might not, but you might like this one. And then when you like it, you're at the tip of the iceberg for everything you can experience in Chomlong and the youth park.
And when I tasted, like if I did a blind tasting, it's so easy to guess, well, this is a Jufrak from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it just had the characteristics that I fell in love with. From my very first import, my first Jufrak I exported, I just, fell off my chair and fell in love with that. Fell in love with the grape, fell in love with the region. And now that I can share this with my people in Denmark, chosen by Bortodoor, that's just brilliant.
One thing I would say about Chomlong wines, there is a crazy thing that happens. When you're there, everything makes sense. You're breathing the air, it's kind of salty, it's volcanic. You're drinking the water, it's salty, it's volcanic. Everything makes sense. So wines that you've tried, even in Budapest, as opposed to Chomlong, they become so much more fruity because all of those volcanic elements have taken away from it. And you're like, I've never tried this wine before in this way. So even taking it just halfway through the train ride back, it changes completely. So enjoy this wine, but you really should take a trip, maybe for the next International Youth Park Day, which is only in Chomlong.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ding.
So, Sus, you've been on a couple of wine trips yourself, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if some of the people watching this video are planning to do their first wine trip, either in France, Italy, but hopefully Hungary, what would be your, let's not limit ourselves to top 3 tips, but what tips would you give the people who are going away for a wine trip for the very first time?
Number 1 is get in touch with somebody who knows the lay of the land. That's absolutely imperative. You will almost certainly struggle if you don't do that. We're fully aware of Ecek is our closest wine region. That's 28 kilometers away. You can get there on public transport. Eger is 2 hours away. That's really easy to get there on public transport. Certain places like Vilan are really easy to navigate when you're there because the infrastructure means that there's the strip that you can go to and visit a lot of the cellars. And some of them are impossible if you don't have a driver or a tour guide to take you around, but you really need a driver. So, for example, when you go to Tokai, you're thinking, oh yeah, Tokai and Mad and Taya. That's great, they're wonderful places, and within the village you can navigate around, but you need to get from one to the other. So, number 1, get in touch with a local expert.
And that is very true, because I had that experience myself when I was planning a trip for us to go to Ecek with my mom, who was visiting us. I was looking at Google Maps. I was thinking, but they're like 500 meters away. We'll just walk. And it never crossed my mind, but that this is wine country. Of course, they will have hillsides. Of course, it will be elevated. You can't walk anywhere. So talk to someone who knows the land. Otherwise, you'll make the mistake I did. Luckily, Sus joined. Everything was fine.
Oh. Number 2 tip.
Number 2 tip.
Number 2 tip for your trip. Plan which wines you want to experience. Do your research on the wineries as well, but again, speak to that expert who might be able to show you the small, unknown underdogs of the area. So when I have, from the Wine Mafia, we have a group that go on trips every now and then. When we go to Tokai, I have to remind everyone, bring some Vilan wines in your bag because there's only white wines to be permitted to be grown in Tokai, which is wonderful for the daytime. At the end of the night, when you want to kick back and drink some heavy reds, you better bring your own.
And that is a very good tip, because that's exactly what happened for our recent Tokai visit. Lovely wine, white wine, lovely wine, sweet wine, and then you're sitting there at 12 o'clock after being very full of that and thinking, I could use some heavy reds. And of course I brought Sus. What does Sus have in her bag?
Only wine.
Only red wine.
And what about on the way back from Chomlong?
Oh yes, but should we say that?
Yeah.
Okay, so a funny story on our way back from Somloy. You had brought red wine in your bag because we were planning to stay over. We could drink it at Airbnb or hotel or whatever. But then we decided the last minute, hey, the return bus is coming soon. Let's just get back to the city, have some fun. And we had some glasses. Was it plastic or I can't remember?
It's plastic.
And you had it out in your hand, and the bus driver said, can't drink on this 2.5 hour trip back home. Quick thinking, Casper was like, hey, let's just move to the back as quickly as we can. And we had one side mate who after 10 minutes fell asleep, out came the red wine, out came the glasses, and those 2.5 hours became nothing because we had red wine in our glasses.
Cool kids.
Cool kids.
At the back of the bus.
Oh yeah.
What about on the way back from Eger?
Oh, the way back from Ikea, now I gotta think.
There was no toilet on our carriage.
So, on our way back from Ikea, that was with a train. A lot can be said about Hungarian public transport and especially the trains, but actually this train back from Ikea to Budapest was pretty fine. The only problem is the carriage that we decided to sit in, the toilet didn't work. So the only way you could go to the toilet, and side note, we have of course brought wine we could drink all together on the way home, was to wait until the next stop, go outside, go to the next carriage, go to the toilet, and that's exactly what happened. One of our friends from America who was visiting went to the other carriage. There was already a queue, so she had the time to go in, do her business, jump out again from the carriage, go back to the party. I didn't. The train set off. I left everything in the carriage.
His phone was with us.
The phone was with her. When I came back, I don't know why they were laughing so much. They were also a little bit scared whether I've actually not done it. But looked at my phone. I think I had like 10 minutes of recordings of them just goofing around.
Yeah. Message for Casper's family. We really loved him. We miss him. He just couldn't get to the toilet and back. Yeah.
Okay. Tip number 3
is plan enough time to be able to do everything. When we are traveling, we're obviously working, so we usually have a spittoon with us. But if you're not, it can be pretty intense going to all of these wineries, and they want to show you everything. They want to share the best experiences with you and the best wines and the best stories. So plan enough time. You think 2 hours for one winery is enough, then keep going. It's not. Take your time. Just go to 3 wineries per day and then pick up some wines to take back to your Airbnb, or if you're lucky, for example, when we were in Balaton, there's often a summer gathering where all of the wineries will represent themselves at a small festival in the main square. So do your 3 wineries, come back, go somewhere for a lovely dinner, maybe have a nap, and then go out, reset, and try everything again. You have 2 days in one day, if you're smart.
Very good tip, because I remember when we went to Ikea, we brought two of our friends, and the very first place, Susan and I was of course bidding because we know what was going to happen the rest of the day. Our friends weren't so
frugal.
So
I
I stood at the end of the table with my spittoon, and I could just see out of the corner of my eye these two women. They were getting redder and redder in the face. I was like, oh, this is going to be a long day. Troopers they were, no problem.
Amazing.
They kept going until we did, which is quite an accomplishment. So plan accordingly.
Okay. Tip number 4. Have a look at the calendar. I know that sounds obvious, you're going to be planning a trip, you're going to look at the calendar, but have a look at the calendar events in that country. We are so blessed here in Hungary that there are wine festivals, wine tours happening all year round. For example, the next Wine Mafia trip we're going to do on the 1st of August is to Mord, because they have a wonderful walking tour and you get the most out of the day. September is a hectic time in Hungary because obviously it's harvest. Anywhere that the harvest is hectic. For Moor, for example, there used to be the after harvest festival in October. Now with climate change, they're in the actual middle of the harvest, so it's a disaster for them. But just have a look on the calendar. There are a lot of websites, a lot of social media posts who can show you what's going on, and make sure you plan around it, either to get absolutely in the action or to realize it might be too expensive to get accommodation at that time and too overcrowded, so choose a different time.
And if you're very observant, there will always be a social media person either in the country or the region who posted these calendars. For example, here in Hungary, we have Dee.
Dee is amazing.
Dee Wine Guide.
She keeps us grounded.
Yeah. So I'm constantly surprised when she posts her monthly calendar on social media. There's events almost every day.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the country. And if I could, I would just go to all the events because.
Well, she's able to. I think she teleports, because she's out there, she's back there, she's going to all of the events. She's amazing. Thank you, Dee. We appreciate your work.
Thank you, Dee. Tip number 5.
5th and final tip. If you haven't been able to plan so much about the expert who's going to set you up for your trip, spend some time in Budapest beforehand and go to the wine bars. Obviously, I'm biased, so I'm going to say Bortodoor has literally everything you need because I know it does. But a bunch of the other wine bars. All have different style, different characteristics, and different wines. So you spend your time doing some wine bar crawls, and then you'll find out, I know about this wine, I know about this wine, I know about this region, and you'll find what floats your boat, although we're landlocked. So unless you're on the Balaton, that's not going to work.
Beautiful trip, because, you know, to back that tip up, that's what I do every Friday. Go to Bortodoor, go to any wine bar I want.
That's how this whole journey started, isn't it,
That's how it
Casper?
started.
The whole full circle.
Thank you to the wine bars of Budapest.